Well, I'm going to show you what I did. Plans had to totally change. I did not take the observation hive apart. I did take the top off, and I drilled a hole, and I put some screen in there so I can put a feeder jar and to give them a little bit more ventilation during the summer. Because I just had a saw mark up there, if you can see it. And doing just a saw mark like that, they tend to propolize it closed pretty bad. I've got saw marks on the bottom of this hive also. And I think when summer rolls around and I start working bees again, I'm going to put some bigger openings on the bottom of this hive for ventilation, because I think the saw marks, they've totally sealed them up, and every once in a while I'd just run my pocket knife through there and open them. But I went ahead and put me a couple of shelf brackets, mounted this up here by a window. This is, like I said, this was a back porch and somebody closed it in, and this back window is a pretty inexpensive window. It's always cold in this back room, but I went ahead and put me that's one of those door drafters across the bottom there, and taped off the rest and stuck me a piece of tube in the hole. No valves, nothing like that, just stuck a piece of tube in the hole, and right away like 4 bees went out the door. And of course I hadn't seen them come back. Oh, they don't realize it's like 35 degrees outside. And a lot more activity on the inside. Bees are coming up. You can see the bees down in the bottom there, the cluster slowly coming apart. I believe there is a small cluster right there, probably about 10-15 bees that are probably dead, and they're going to eventually have to work them out of there. And that's something we'll have to keep an eye on, is the tube. There's only one in and out hole. And of course during the winter they won't use it a whole lot, but I am slightly concerned about that if it does get stopped up. So I'll have to keep an eye on it at night, just make sure it's cleaned out. But this is the bad news. I went out and brought that swarm in here to warm it up, and when I got down in here, this is what I found. And it's just dead bees. They're frozen to death, it looks like it. I thought eventually they might warm back up and start coming back alive, and I'm not going to dump them out on the ground yet. But they look pretty dead. This is the second swarm that I've had die on me. Oh, I see a couple bees right there on top coming around. So these might still come around, but I doubt it. I think they're dead. I think they're frozen. Might be just a couple of live ones in there, but I'm going to leave them back here for a while and let them warm up. See if any of them do want to come out of there, and I'll let them out and put them inside the hive. But, this was a good sized little swarm. You can see there's quite a few bees down in there. The last swarm I had die on me, it was 105 degrees. I caught it immediately right when it went in the tree. I put it in the Tupperware container, put it in the shade. Tupperware container did have holes in it for venting, and I came back out to put them in a hive after lunch for maybe about an hour, and they were all dead. And I'm just going to guess I got them too hot, and these got too cold. So we're bouncing back and forth. I'm going to go ahead and answer this phone call, but that's what's going on right now. We're going to enjoy this observation hive all winter long.